Yes, guys, what's going on? Make sure you head over to stretfordpaddock.bigcartel.com. Check out all the new merch. Remember, members get 10% off. Go and do it now. See you later.
Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Real Sociedad preview. Joining me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, not guest, co-host, Joe Smith.
What a big game it is as well, Jay.
It's on a knife edge. It's on a knife edge. The last 32 league round of the Europa. I can do this. Second leg of the Europa. If you don't know, we're 4-0 up from the first leg. So this one is at Old Trafford. The first leg was in Turin because Real Sociedad weren't allowed to play in their ground. So we had it in Turin. We beat them 4-0, and now we're back at Old Trafford.
They say that a 4-0 lead is the most difficult lead you can have, Jay.
When you say they, do you mean you have just made that up?
Yeah. But I do say that. And I'll tell you for why, Jay. Because obviously 1-0's a tricky lead. That goes without saying.
Yeah.
Because, it's only 1-0.
Yeah.
But we know that.
Yeah, okay.
2-0, very similar vibes.
Yeah.
3-0, anyone can score 3.
Yeah.
But 4-0 is where you start drifting into the territory of, we've got this in the bag, lads.
Yeah.
And let me tell you right now, if you think we've got this in the bag, we have. So, yes, it may be the most difficult of all the leads, but we will still win, so don't worry about it.
We are doing the
Go
preview
ahead.
live, as you probably know, because you're watching it.
Yes.
Do give us a like, hit that like button. If you're not doing, get involved in the comments as well. And also, if you're not subscribing to the channel, subscribe, man.
Yeah.
Get involved in that. We're 4-0 up, so you would expect Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to maybe shuffle his pack slightly, give some youngsters a chance, perhaps, including a certain Amad Diallo, who's the talk of the town.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he will, and he should, really, because Diallo obviously is coming for a lot of money. He's a player in a position that we don't have many of, which is right wing or wingers generally. At this point, we're kind of low. It seemed like 2 or 3 years ago when Martial was firmly a winger, when we had Sanchez there as well, we had Rashford, we couldn't move for left wingers. And now, we've got Rashford and then Dan James a bit. We haven't actually got that many wingers anymore. I think there's a reason why Rashford plays every game, and only one of those reasons is because he's one of our best players. But we don't have many wingers generally. We certainly don't have many right wingers. And Diallo's a young talent who's coming through, and I think he's got to start, and I think he will start as well. Yeah, Ole was quite coy on that, wasn't he, in the press conference? But he's going to start him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying now. I think the only question mark is he's going to feature, I think. I think that's sort of a given. Maybe, I was thinking that maybe he might come on at half-time. Yeah. Or he might want to sort of, because I know you were sort of joking before, but with it being 4-0, he might as well maybe get to half-time, make sure there's no dramas, and then you can bring on the kids. But it depends as well. If you play a relatively strong team and put Diallo in there, that's not an issue. It's if you go with it into it like you did in Astana, where you have was it Lee Grant and the children? Lee Grant, the children, and Jesse Lingard was the actual official.
Lee Grant was like the Pied Piper there.
He was,
leading the children.
Follow me to Kazakhstan.
Through Kazakhstan. Through the mountains of Kazakhstan. Oh no, I've left all the kids there by accident. Because most of them have never played for us again. Locked in a mountain in Kazakhstan. So I don't know where they all are now. I'm sure most of them were mentioned during the Academy review that you and Dave just did that will be out tomorrow morning. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see quite such a team. If Lee Grant plays, there's problems.
I think, just on that as well, Dean Henderson, there's been a little bit of news around Dean Henderson. I think Casey had it this morning because apparently, and again, I think this may have started from the Manchester Evening News, so I would take that with a massive pinch of salt, that Dean Henderson's more or less said to Ollie, if I'm not number one next season, then I want to move on. Chelsea apparently are looking at him. Yeah. I think producer Cam, who's a Chelsea fan, says they don't need him. They've got Mendy. I think West Ham might have been linked with him as well. There's a couple of
teams. We'll talk a bit more about that tonight as well. Yeah. On Stretford Paddock Live at 9:00. We'll have the full details on that. But I'm sure he's going to start again. I'd be very disappointed if he doesn't, because I know we need to rotate, but he's not someone who needs a rest. He needs games.
No.
So whilst he's a very good goalkeeper, I mean, Romero got a night off in Astana, so I don't expect that.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
I think he wants games. It's also interesting, isn't it? Have you seen that clip that's been doing the rounds? People comparing him to David De Gea in terms of the way he controls his area.
Yeah.
From the Sociedad game where he came out, grabbed the ball, set up a counter. David De Gea against, was it Newcastle? Not Newcastle, was it?
Newcastle, yes.
Yeah, where it didn't come out, and I know Maguire was there. People have been comparing the two, saying that's the difference. I think me and you've spoken about it extensively since we've been doing videos together. It's not a case of is Henderson, or even when we went back to Romero, better in the air or better in commanding his area than De Gea. They are, or he is. It's a question of, is he good enough at shot stopping to make him a better option longer term? That's the thing, in it, because De Gea has always been one of the best, if not the best, shot stoppers in the world. I don't think he's quite at that level yet, but it looks like Dean Henderson will start this game. Doing all right this season, isn't he? I don't think he's been like always got to start every game, but he's done well.
Yeah, he has done well, and he's a different type of goalkeeper. And to be honest, I wouldn't say I disagree with you, but I think the question isn't even, is he a good enough shot stopper to replace De Gea? It's, what type of goalkeeper does this current United team need? And I don't think we need a shot stopper. I don't think we need someone who can save make 7 or 8 world-class saves in a game. I think we need someone who can command their area and collect the ball out of the sky 2 or 3 times a game, come out of his 18-yard box and clear the ball out for a throw-in to prevent a counter-attack once a game. That's what we need. And I think that's why De Gea's looked so shaky and unconvincing. I mean, not even including the fact that last season his shot stopping was terrible. But this season, the reason why Henderson stands out or De Gea doesn't stand out is because we don't really need a goalkeeper that's good at saving shots, because we don't concede many shots. No. What we need is someone who controls the area, who doesn't allow pressure to build, who doesn't allow us to get bullied from set pieces and turned over in counter-attacks. We need someone who controls their box, comes out to play as well, and wins the ball aerially. And that's what Dean Henderson can do, which is why I think he has to play, he has to prove himself, be given another chance. And if the rumours are true about him not wanting to play second fiddle next season, and that there are big teams that are in for him, the only way he can prove himself as the right man is by getting games. And surely Ollie wants to see that. There's no way we're going to let a goalkeeper leave who could be one of the best goalkeepers in the country and who could be more suited to this current United team than our current goalkeeper. There's no way we're going to let him leave without seeing if he's good enough. And tonight's a perfect example of a game we can do that in. 100%.
A lot of people asking about Adam McCullough. Is he okay? Yeah, he's just been off for a few days. Don't worry. Yeah. He'll be back. It's nothing sinister. Adam McCullough is always involved. So he'll be back soon. Hopefully, maybe on the watch along tomorrow. If not, but back later on in the week. Looking at United's form, it's been a bit up and down. Obviously, that great win over Sociedad, the win over Newcastle as well. But prior to that, we've been a bit of erratic form, aren't we? Yeah. Does that matter in a game like this? Because it's a second leg and you're going to play... you're going to sort of rotate it, or do you look at it and just go, listen, we need to get a bit of momentum going, and we've won our last 2, so a win would keep it going regardless of how important that win is.
I think if a heavily rotated team draws tonight, I don't think it's a problem. Tomorrow, sorry. Yeah. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think there'll be so many changes to this team, and I'm assuming, my joke about 4-0 being the most difficult lead was a joke.
And I'm assuming we'll clip up when we get beat 5-4.
I'm assuming no matter who plays, we will go through. Yeah. So if it's a heavily rotated team, most of which won't even play against Chelsea on Sunday, and we still make it through the tie, even if we draw, even if we lose 1-0, even if we lose 2-1, even if we lose 2-0, it'll be shit on the night, but I don't think that will affect the momentum of the rest of the team because it's such a different team. United's last 5 games, the recent run of form hasn't been amazing. But in this sequence of games where we have dropped a few points, we've only lost 1 game. Yeah. We've only lost 1 game since, Arsenal in January was the last time we lost before Sheffield United. So it's not like we've lost tons of games in this time. It's just that we've dropped points when Man City haven't dropped points, but we're still ahead of everyone else. No one else has caught us up. Leicester on the same points as us, but we're still above them on goal difference. So this bad run of form, I think, has been exaggerated a little bit by how good City's form has been 18 games in a row, which is literally unprecedented by an English team in history. But really, I think no matter what happens tomorrow, it shouldn't affect what has been a slight upturn in form. Obviously, drawing against West Brom wasn't particularly great, but sandwiching that with wins against West Ham and the battering of Sociedad last week, and then following that with the Newcastle win, hopefully we're on the way out of this difficult patch.
Yeah, I think that what makes it worse is the sort of, not the draws against West Brom and Everton, it's the nature of them. It's the fact that Everton in
The Everton
particular.
one,
Last,
mental.
me and you despondent when Macca we were on the watch along, and it was just silence for about 2 minutes. West Brom as well, who were terrible. For us not to beat them, especially with our away form, was a tough one to take. You mentioned the Chelsea game, obviously a massive game this weekend, and we couldn't give ourselves a better way to go into this game not needing to play a very strong team because we've got that 4-0 cushion. Looking at the predicted 11s, you've done yours different, have you? You've gone with, you do it as who you want to see start against Sociedad.
One of the reasons I do it that way is because over the years, predicting who's going to play, especially in games like this when it's going to be rotated.
That was the fun though. We used to have the ticker and everything with the league table. We might bring that back one day.
We should bring that back.
Yeah, because everyone used to like it, and some people used to take it very seriously. Not mention anyone, James Young. I'll
be up for that. if it becomes some sort of like who can guess the most players.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll bring that back just so we can get you back on page. Okay. But we're not doing it yet. So
I also do think this is what will start tomorrow. This is as close to a prediction as I can give. Because here we go.
Right. So this is who you think will start, and also who you want to start.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fine.
I'm in the fantastic position, Jay. I think that Ollie will think the same as me tomorrow. So this is what I want and what I think will happen.
So arrogant.
How is it arrogant? How is that arrogant?
Egotistical.
Egotistical.
This is what I want to see, and Ollie will agree with me because I'm ace. Go on then. You've gone with I nearly called him Jordan Henderson before. Dean Henderson.
Do you know who he is? He plays for Liverpool, does he? Liverpool's injuries are so bad, we've got Jordan Henderson playing in net for us.
I can't do my jokes. I used to do when Dean Henderson was in the squad when we played the Scousers, and I was like, best Henderson in the purchases for United.
That's really, really, really top quality stuff. So I've gone with Jordan Henderson in net. I've gone Williams, Tuanzebe, Maguire and Tellez. Obviously heavily rotated.
Yeah.
Tellez I think will play. Seems to be second choice to Shaw at the minute, and we haven't really got anyone else to play there.
Agree.
I've gone with Maguire just because last season he played pretty much every game no matter what, and he doesn't seem to have dropped that sort of role in the squad at the minute. The ever present, never injured sort of, he can play on cruise control a little bit tomorrow. I think he'll play, and I would play him myself. I think it'd be good to see Williams get a game, give Wan-Bissaka a rest, someone who goes under the radar for needing a rest. Everyone knows that Rashford and Bruno and these sorts of players need to have a rest, but I think Wan-Bissaka's played almost every game in the Premier League so far this season, and we don't really have a backup for him, except Williams, who doesn't seem to get many games. So I think he could do with the rest. I think he'll get one. In midfield, I've gone Matic and Fred because we don't really have anyone else, unfortunately. And again, hopefully they can have a bit of a steady game. Hopefully one of Van der Beek or McTominay will be back for the weekend. I don't think Pogba's going to be fit, but I've gone with them too because we don't really have many options. And then the front three there, or the front four, should I say, Diallo starting for his full debut on the right-hand side. Mata in at the number 10, which is rare for him, but I think he deserves a go there because he's
see where you're coming from.
A good player, and with those two behind him, he should get a bit of space on the ball. And then Dan James on the left, who's been anywhere from decent to excellent the last few games he's played for us. And then Martial, again, at this point, that's with the assumption that Cavani will be fit against Chelsea and that Martial won't be starting that game because of that. I've gone with him up front. Otherwise, who knows who'll start up front again? But we aren't blessed with too many options up front, are we? We've got Cavani. We've got Cavani, Martial, and sometimes Greenwood, who I think again will be rested for Chelsea. So that's who I've gone for. I think that's the team we'll see. I think that's the team I'd like to see. Maybe give Bailly a game in there as well, but. I don't think he'll drop Maguire, and I think Tuanzebe could do with a game more than Bailly because Bailly played last week.
It's a very strong team there. Yeah. I mean, you can argue obviously Diallo's a bit of an unknown entity, and Dan James has been playing well recently, but he's not, not usually in the team. He's in Juan Mata's not really had a sniff lately, but it's still a very good team. You look at some of the players there, and it'd be good. I'd like to see that team as well. I'd like to see Tuanzebe get a game. Yeah. I'd like to see Anthony Martial getting amongst the goals as well. It's in danger of becoming a bad season for him, rather than a bad spell.
I would go as far as to say this is going to be a bad season for him. But like I said before, if he can supplement a bad season or sort of pull himself out of a terrible season with a few crucial goals in a cup run that ends up with a trophy, he can sort of salvage it, I think, maybe. If he gets a couple of goals tomorrow night, maybe gets us through to a final, scores a goal there, whether that be the FA Cup or the Europa League, you can at least look back on the season with some glimmers of hope, because otherwise it's going to just be a really disappointing season from him.
I think me and you were saying he could do a Teddy Sheringham, couldn't he?
Yeah,
Just
do
score
that.
a few goals at the end of the season. Everyone looks back at Teddy Sheringham, like scored 20 goals, didn't he, in 2000? Was like PFA Player of the Year or something. No one talks about that as much.
No.
He's just gone about. He scored against Newcastle in the FA Cup final, obviously against Munich at the Nou Camp. Strong team. I can see where you're coming from. Move on to my team now, if we can. I mean, it's very similar. Bailly, Tuanzebe is my centre backs, Henderson in goal, Telles and Williams. I get where you're coming from with Harry Maguire. I'm just thinking with the opportunity to rest both Lindelof and Maguire, because I think he will play them against Chelsea. Ollie might take it, but
have they ever played together, Bailly and Tuanzebe? Have they ever started a game together?
I'm not sure. Did they play him? No, they didn't play in Paris together, did they? No, it was just Tuanzebe and Maguire, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a combination. No. If we have seen it, I've not seen it.
Not that I think that they can't possibly play that, because again, this game
you were right about Maguire. Maguire plays pretty much every game he's fit, but I think that those two at centre back doesn't bother me at all. I think they're strong enough to deal with Real Sociedad. Fred and Matic in the middle. Again, I think there's question marks about, but McTominay will just even mix it up a bit, and if he is sort of not fit, or if he is, I wouldn't mind resting him for Chelsea, because I think if he's fit, he plays against Chelsea. I think he's become one of our most important players this season, and certainly got some important goals. The front four, I've gone Rashford on the left. I think it might have been you making the point of the week of like, when it comes to Maguire, Bruno and Rashford, at least one of them always plays.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case. So because I've not got Bruno and I've not got Maguire in, I don't think he's going to... there you go. Ross Murphy in the Super Chat says, Bailly and Tuanzebe played against Watford in the FA Cup.
Very good.
Good knowledge. In the Cup, sorry. Yeah, it was the FA
Basically,
FA
Bruce
Cup,
and Pallister at this point, aren't they?
Right, 300 games together. So I've gone with Marcus, even though I wouldn't mind if he was rested, because I think he gets overplayed a little bit. I've gone with Juan Mata. He's not played a lot, but this is a game where he can play. We've got a 4-goal cushion, and I think he could still do a job against Sociedad. Like yourself, I want to see Amad Diallo start. This is my predicted 11, by the way, but I think Ollie might give him a start. And I've gone with Anthony Martial up top, because you nailed it. We've not got an abundance of striking options, especially when you look at the importance of the game coming up. So I think that Martial is the obvious one to start there. And I think also as well, Sociedad 4-0 down. I don't know what sort of team they're going to play, but hopefully he can get them in the goals.
Yeah, what are they going to do? What's Sociedad's way at this? Do they just come and fly at us and go for it? Or do they sort of sit back and, let's just damage limitations, rest, maybe they rest a few players for the weekend. I wonder, it'll be interesting to see how they come into this. Obviously, their last 5 results, not bad, really. 3 league wins there.
That Alaves one, I think that was the one where Facundo Palestri came on, sub for Alaves. Just what you want to do. Come on, your team's getting battered, but it's obviously not his fault. Obviously, they lost to us, a win against Getafe, and a couple of some decent results. I mean, they're doing okay, aren't they? I think they were the 5th still in La Liga, but it's
they certainly were before the last game.
It's not a great La Liga, though, is it?
No,
this season it's
Atletico Madrid running away with it, and then everyone else sort of fighting to stay within touching distance of that.
I don't know whether the standard's as good as it has been in previous years.
I mean, we can say it's not. Like, you look at Barcelona's team, their best players are
awful.
The same best players that they were 10 years ago, but now they're 35. So, or 34, whatever Messi is, he's still a good player, but he's still their best player.
Yeah.
They've still got like Busquets playing, they've still got Piqué playing, they've still got Alba playing, sorry. It's all their best players still, except they're 10 years older, so they're not as good. Pretty much the same with Madrid. Like, you look Kroos and Modric and Benzema and Ramos.
Yeah.
It's like the only player they've lost is their actual best player, which is Ronaldo, and all the rest of their best players are just the same ones but dead old. There's no hints or surprises or like, oh, I wonder why they're not so good, because you've got all the same best players, but they're all 35 now. So yeah, it's not quite as competitive a league. The fact that Atletico, are top of the league and they've got some good players, but they were pretty shaky last season, and now they've come flying through, and I think they're like 9 points clear at the top, Atletico. So it's not the best league. I was surprised by how comfortably we beat Sociedad last week, because I know I've said this on the last preview, but you never expect to face a Spanish team and have an easy game, because they're generally speaking, and this is almost a bit stereotypy at this point, but we've seen it enough against Sevilla, against Bilbao, against Madrid, against Barcelona in the last decade. They're very good in midfield. If you're not careful, if you've got the wrong players on the pitch, you can get outplayed. It feels like you can't touch the ball. But there was none of that last time, and I don't know whether that's because United were really good or because they were really bad. Probably a mixture of both. But yeah, I was very surprised at how easy the last game was. And if we get 1 goal, they need 6. Like, it's not happening.
It's not happening. Looking at, we have played them a few times, literally. I think if you look at the last sort of, I think it's last 3 games we played.
Oh, we can read
Real
a lot
Sociedad.
from this, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. There's the form guide.
Actually, I've just noticed something. I'll tell you the key game there.
Go
See
on.
that 4-0?
Yeah.
That was last week, Jay. And that was the away leg of this same tie. So if you want to look at the most important one, I won't look at that one because that's a while ago. I won't look at that one because this is the key one.
This is the key
and
one.
I'm sure not a lot of you at home didn't notice that. But this was actually last week. And
See,
actually, they need to win 5-0
I don't
now
like
to go
arguing
through.
with you, but I disagree.
You?
I
You
think
the real one.
the 0-0 whenever it was,
That's when we
15
can
years
really
ago, whatever it was, I don't even
glean
know.
a lot of
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 2013, there you go.
Ignore
I've
the
just been
4-0.
told him here. It was 2013, sorry. It was, 8 years ago, the 0-0. So I think that's the key. If you look at that game, then you'll get a real indication.
hope history
You'll get
doesn't
from that
repeat
game,
itself.
that 0-0, you'll find out how good Adnan Diallo is.
That's the one. That's the one to look at. That's the one you can really read into. The 4-0 last week, the absolute
Irrelevance.
last week. I don't care about that.
In terms of Real Sociedad and talk about United's past, they have got one player we all know very well, who at one point looked like being the saviour of Manchester United with David Moyes. And then it all went horribly wrong for a multitude of reasons. Adnan Januzaj, you can see his stats this season.
Tearing it up.
Doing okay. I think that's very Adnan Januzaj-esque stats, aren't they?
Yeah. He looks decent in games,
Yeah.
but when you look back at him, you go, 1 goal?
Yeah.
I'm sure he scored 2 in one game. No, he didn't. It was deflected. It was given as an own goal. Yeah, that's about right.
He's all right.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
He's a decent player. This tie is almost entering if he scores we'll clap territory though. So,
If you were in the ground,
No.
would you? No, not if he scores. When he's announced,
Right.
When they go, welcome, returning to Old Trafford, Adnan Januzaj, would you be like? Some people are a bit funny about that. They're like, we do this for everyone who comes here.
Yeah.
We're a fucking joke. Would you be like, yeah? Do you know what?
Here's exactly what I do.
Right,
Because
go on.
normally at football I don't eat because I'm either too nervous or because I don't want to
Pounding red wine at the rate of knots, probably.
Yeah, all that. But this time I'd have a pie because I'd be like, right, settle in. This is, don't worry about it. So you go. So you be the announcer, and I'll tell you what I'll do.
And if you can give a warm Old Trafford welcome back here on his return for Adnan Januzaj.
That's what I do. I give it shit as always.
So you wouldn't be like, I want to tell
No,
you,
I'd go-
I might as well do. About a boy who can do anything. Do you remember that chant that went around for about two years? Into
I'd still sing that.
Yeah.
If we were beating
Januzaj,
Leeds
Januzaj,
4-0,
Januzaj.
I'd sing the Januzaj chant, but not in front of him. He doesn't deserve that. No, I like him, and he was like one very small shining light. I mean, it wasn't really a shining light. He was a single candle flame 1 mile away in the distance. You know that fact that the human eye can see a candle 12 miles away? He was that. You're like, is there some light there? And you go, some fucker's blown it out. That's what Januzaj was. He wasn't exactly like the bat beacon, was he, in the sky? He was a very dim light in what was otherwise pure darkness.
He sort of timed it right in a way that he was, like you say, he had that game away at Sunderland where we were desperate and we needed something to cling on to, and he seemed like it. And he did play well for a little while, but then it just all went horribly wrong. And, we wish him well, but I'm not getting too carried away with it.
Would you cheer him, sorry? I probably would.
I would. Do you know why I cheer him? Because he's pretty inoffensive, isn't he, Januzaj? Do you know what I mean? He's like you say, and there's mitigating circumstances. It wasn't like he came in at Sir Alex Ferguson team and was dreadful.
Yeah.
He came in at a David Moyes team that was very poor, did well for a little while, and then his form just fell off a cliff. And it was like, okay, there's reasons. Louis van Gaal apparently was very much like, you stand there, you play there, you go there. Very different to what David
Here's
Moyes
the
had been.
box you're allowed to move
do
within.
not deviate from this. I think he was given the number 11 shirt one here as well, which is not, this is one of our greatest ever, if not our greatest ever players' shirts.
Like
You're
the
taking his
season
number
after
now.
he retired.
Yeah. So don't let us down. Yeah.
Don't fuck it up.
A lot of expectations. So, yeah, I'd probably give him a polite applause. Mine would be more like, oh.
Yeah, I might
nice. Oh.
Yeah, I'd do that. I'd do a bit more.
Yeah. There we go. I'm glad we've cleared that up.
Thank you.
Go on then, give us your score prediction.
It's hard, isn't it? Because we could just look really stale, a bit slow and steady because there's 8 players who haven't played together in 6 months playing. I'd be really surprised if he does go with a strong team, even anything close to a first choice team, which just sort of muddies the waters in terms of a prediction. I think it's probably going to be a closer game than we'd like. I'll go 2-1 United just because, I don't know how my head can't work out what they're going to do. Because if they come out flying for it, we might, Diallo, Dan James on the counter-attack, we might get 3. It could be 3-0 easy, but I think it's probably going to be a bit of a dull game, a slow, steady game. So, 2-1 United. Nothing overly dramatic, convincing win.
Yeah, I sort of agree. I'm going to go with 1-0 United. I think it'll be a very bit closer and one of those where it's like, this game's almost done. What's the point in getting excited? Just before I wrap up, we've got a super chat from Quaim Bako. Forgive me if I'm absolutely butchering your name. He says, thanks for the great content as always. Diallo to the moon. Exactly.
Quick question.
Go on.
What will you do if Sociedad win 5-0?
If Sociedad,
what will you do? What will we all do?
If Sociedad win 5-0 and Adnan Januzaj plays a part in that, I will start a hate campaign against him that would be biblical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what we do when he gets announced at Old Trafford?
Get
Get out of it!
Adnan Januzaj.
Yeah. Fucking crap nan battered shit. Fucking hell. Something like that. More like crap nan shattered twat. Get it! That'll be you, won't it? If we lose 5-0, that's what we're going to say.
We were doing so well. I was just thinking in my head, we've got through this live preview without any nonsense. And we've gone to crap nan Januzaj in the final seconds. I'm sorry. I am sorry. And it's the
school night.
The school pick-up time. What is it? School run time. Yeah. We always used to say that radio when it was around 4 o'clock. Right. That's been Joe Smith. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93 on Twitter and on Instagram, please.
And TikToking and all that now, aren't you, son?
Well, we've got TikTok on Stretford Paddock, so get stuck into that if you want to.
Yeah, go and check that out. If you're not checking out it's not up yet, so you can't check out the Academy Review. The Academy Review that Joe was talking about will be up tomorrow as well. You can see there. Go and check us out on TikTok. Get my words out. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel as well, and check out the members section. We've got some extra content on there. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Moy. This has been the Real Sociedad preview. Thanks for watching.